In our lives, we see many chess games of varying levels. From low elo games to mid elo games to high elo games to grandmaster games, we see lots and lots of chess games. But in all of my experience watching chess games, the level of chess that excites you the most, that evokes the most emotion, that evokes the most raw passion, is 100 elo chess. At 100 elo, people just don't know what they're doing. And you're just left in awe. You are left in wonder at how these players even know how to move the pieces. But even in these dark moments, you see small tinges of brilliance with these players finding tactics, finding really nice ideas, and then proceeding to throw them all away once more. It's just an emotional, never-ending roller coaster that just fills you with wonder. And today, I have found a game which encapsulates this feeling to 11. This game was played between two 100 elo players on chess.com. You cannot go any lower than this. And this game was 140 moves long and had 135 bad moves, according to chess.com's game review. 135, that is nearly half of the game, and there were moves which were bad that were not shown as blunders. So even more. More than half of this game was bad. But, in fact, this game does not start in such a bad way, as white goes d4. d4, I have to tell you, is a very reasonable move. It's very good. It controls the center. It lets you develop your bishop, you can play a London. You can move your knight, you can move your knight, you can move your pawn, you can move your pawn. You can do a lot of things. But a move that does not let you do a lot of things is a5. a5 is just a terrible move. You don't develop anything with this move. You don't claim any center space. The only thing you can move is your rook. But if he goes e4 now, the bishop blocks here, and you can't do that. But white does what every 100 elo player does, which is see that their opponent has moved a pawn, and move the same pawn, a3. a3 is just completely pointless, and black continues with their bad play by playing h5. And now white just completely loses his mind. He played one good move, proceeded to waste a move, and now plays f4. f4 is a very bad move, and in fact, it blocks this bishop. So now black goes here. Now, this is still a very bad move because you should not be developing your rook so early in the game. But I kind of wonder if black did this because he knew it was blocked, the bishop can't hit the rook through the pawn, or if black was just going to do that anyway and was just very lucky to not hang a rook. Rook a2. Rook a2 is a terrible move. First of all, it does the same thing as this, except the rook is not even developed. The rook cannot move anywhere but back. This is just not a good move. You just waste a move, remove your right to castle queenside, and make it so that you probably have to go rook a3 later on in the game to actually get your rook in the game. Rook a6. Rook a6 is just another very bad move, and now black cannot castle. And instead of maybe going e4 here to attack or f5 here to attack, white just goes c4. c4, another just random pawn push, and black goes rook g6. And now, here I actually have to give white a lot of credit because they play f5. So after playing this weird, pointless move, white sees they can attack the rook and attack this rook. So when the rook moves, they take the rook. But instead of that, they decide to attack this rook again, which is fine, the tactic still works. So the rook moves, and now they take. Pawn to d5 just, completely goes back on the whole idea, does nothing, and now this rook can, escape here. But instead of that, black just goes back to g6 and loses the rook. Yeah, black gets the rook attacked, moves the rook, gets the rook attacked, moves the rook. White does a random move, and black forgets his rook was ever attacked on g6. So now it is move 10, and white is up 4 points of material, as any good 100 elo game would go. And as any good 100 elo game would go, white does not develop any of his pieces, and instead plays b4. Now, b4 is not terrible, I guess, because if, take, rook a8. But, you should be developing your pieces. Knight f3, knight c3. Develop your knights. Rook h6. So, after taking this pawn and saving his rook, black shows that he had no idea his rook was attacked on h6 and just moves it back. Now, what really baffles me about this is, like, why go here? Like, the rook had a nice open file here. Like, maybe if this bishop moved, you know, like, you could take the g-pawn. You just move it behind the pawn, and now the rook is totally pointless, and the rook is dead. But instead of that, white takes this pawn. Okay, sure, fine. Now you're up 5 points of material, and black goes knight a6 and continues to hang the rook. Yeah, just hangs the rook. And here, like, look, the knight is attacking the pawn, right? So maybe you defend the pawn, or you take the rook. No, you play g3. Pawn to g3. Just absolutely no idea, and now black takes this. Now, you can still take the rook, and you will be up 2 rooks for a bishop. You'll be up 7 points of material. No, we play a6 and we hang a pawn. Just hang the pawn. Like, just lose 2 pawns to the knight. Cool. Now, here, it would have been better to go rook takes a6 to save the rook, but it doesn't matter as white goes a4. For absolutely no reason, just a4, and now you can save the rook. No, instead of that, knight to b8. It is now move 14, and the only 2 pieces on black's side which are not on their starting squares are the rook and the pawn. This is very, very bad chess, and white goes a5 and doesn't take the rook. Just, I don't get this at all. d6. Okay, now, the rook is still hanging for like the 5th time, but, you know, let's just say that white or black just don't see this. You're developing the bishop, that's good. a6, and we hang the pawn again, and the knight goes back to a6. This knight has now taken 3 pawns. Just take. Just loses 2 pawns on a6. Cool. Rook a3. I have no idea what that does. Just rook to a3, and black goes knight b8. So the knight has gone to b8 twice, and in fact, look at this. So knight a6, g3, knight c5, knight a6, knight b8, knight a6, knight b8. The knight has gone to a6 3 times and b8 2 times within the first 17 moves, and nothing but a rook and 2 pawns are off the back rank for black, which is just not good. And in fact, nothing but a rook and 2 pawns are off the back rank for white as well. Cool. Knight c3. Okay, so finally white develops the knight, and black goes rook back to g6. Finally saving it, although, you know, he could have just kept the rook on g6 and knight a4, which I don't really know what white's doing. Like, why are you trying to launch an attack here? I'm not sure. And now black actually develops his bishop to possibly the worst square. Bishop h3, losing the bishop in 1 move. White takes. Okay. Now white is up a bishop and a rook for 3 pawns. White is up 5 points of material. It is totally lost for black. Rook f6. I don't really know why we're going rook g6, rook f6, but okay. Rook back to a2. So we can tell, you know, like, none of the brain cells are firing. We're just moving random pieces. And the knight goes to a6 for the 4th time in the game because, you know, in the first 21 moves, you move your knight to a6 4 times. You make like 10 moves with the knight, which is half of your moves. Just, why are you wasting this much time? Why are you doing this? Probably because you're 100, probably because this is like your 5th game of chess. So after knight to a6, white goes knight to b2. Again, I just have no idea. Like, what is this? And now, the funniest sequence of moves in this game happens. Look, so the rook hits the knight. It is defended, but black's like, okay, let's retreat the knight. And now, white goes back to a4 for literally no reason, and black goes back to a6. And white goes to c3, black goes to b8. So, just totally pointless knight shuffling. And instead of going knight a4 again and repeating, we go e3. Now, pawn to e3, mind you, is a terrible move. You block in your own bishop. Develop your bishop first, attack the rook, and then play e3. Or play e4, you know, because that takes center space, defends this pawn, reinforces everything. So e3, e6. Okay. Knight back to a4. Just, like, what are you doing? Okay, b5, we attack the knight, knight goes back. Look, b5 hangs the pawn with check, and we just go back. And now b4 and knight b1. Okay, so the knight goes on a journey. Like, both of these players just moving their knights randomly. No point at all. b3. Hanging the pawn again, and white goes rook to g1 and loses the rook, and rook to h1 and loses the knight. And now black is up 11 points of material. Yes, just, what? So white just repeats moves pointlessly, and on move 30 of this game, it is completely over. Black is up 11 points. There's no coming back from this. Oh, but there is. At 100 elo, there is always a way to come back from this, as this game went on for 110 more moves. Bishop a6. We hang the bishop. We just lose the bishop, you know, because we lost the knight, we lost the rook, we let him make 2 queens, we lose the bishop as well. And black goes queen to h7. Absolutely no reason, just boxing this queen in for like no point at all. e4, hanging the pawn. Just completely hanging the pawn, but instead of that, black takes here. Okay, fine. He takes d5, c5. I have no idea what this is, and white just goes here and hangs the bishop, and goes here and hangs the knight. Queen takes knight, and now, from being up 11 points, black is up 14, and now 70. What is this? Why? What is queen to d8? Just take the knight. Or you can take here, like you can take here, king takes, take the knight with check, and like where the king moves, you can like go here, and like it's mate. It is just like checkmate within a few moves, like here, here, and here. Well, no, because there's this, but you take this, oh, what? Okay, now it's mate, I just had a bit of a moment there, but yeah, you can just give checks, attack the king, give mate with your 2 queens. Okay, we go queen to d8, and rook f6. Okay, now, rook f6 is a very bad move. If you are white here, you should not be trading pieces. You should be playing like queen e2 check. And I mean, I know you can go here and block, but like, you know, you gotta start an attack on the king. So rook f6, and now we move our queen out, we move our knight out. Which way do we take? With the pawn. For absolutely no reason at all. And now white plays queen a4 check, which is a great move. And in fact, black blunders and loses the knight. Just no reason, hangs knight, moves the king, and the queen goes back to a4. Now, assuming there was a rook, like if you saw your rook, you could go like here, here, and that would literally be checkmate, by the way. So that's why you keep the rook on the board, so you can do an attack. So queen back to a4, queen to e8, which is very smart. You know, you're trying to trade the queens, and you're setting up a discovered check with your kings. Like if the queen goes here, I mean, of course you hang your queen, but you can go here, you know, and force a queen trade. But instead of that, white just goes queen takes e8, king takes e8, king e2. King e2, I mean, like, what else are you gonna do? You have 5 pieces. You have a knight, a bishop, 3 pawns. You have nothing else. Just move your king and hope you don't lose, I guess. c4. Very, very good play from black here. Black is just like, one plan, move the pawn, make a queen, win the game. Bishop a3, you don't even need to worry about that. And queen to d3 check wins the bishop. You just win that bishop. But instead of that, we just push our pawn. Okay, cool. The pawn is now 2 squares away from queening. c2, c1. You can't really stop it. And you especially will not be able to stop it if you go bishop takes d6, hanging the bishop in one move. Yeah, like, you just add insult to injury, lose your bishop, and... You what? Okay. So the king attacks the bishop, black hangs the bishop, black hangs the queen. Now it's equal. Yes, yeah. Black just moved this queen into the line of sight of the bishop, and at least he took it back. And now, just stop the pawn. King to d3. No, not there. King d3. You can't push this, and, you know, you win the pawns, you block the pawns, you make a draw. But instead of that, king to f1. And now, black wins. c2, c1, you can't stop it, you win the game. Okay, h4, cool. G takes h4, and now c2 again wins the game. But instead of that, black brings the knight for some reason. I mean, I guess you're going here, and white goes to e1 to try to stop it. So you follow through with your plan and take on h2. Okay. King f1. And now it is winning again for black if you go c2 and c1 and win the game. Okay, knight c4. And now white goes knight to g1, which is a brilliant move, because if c2, there is knight to e2, stopping the pawn. So knight g1, knight d6. Why are you going back? You should try to go forward, like, in fact, knight e3 check. You win this pawn. Maybe you'll win the game. You can win these pawns, promote these, I don't know. So knight d6, and white goes to f3, and now black is winning again, since c2 is now unstoppable. But instead of that, black just repeats moves with the knight, goes back to c4, and white just goes here and hangs the knight. Okay, so moves knight to the right square, to the wrong square, and to especially the wrong square. And the king just walks away here. Like, you could at least go to e2 and try to stop this pawn. No, we just let the pawn queen without any challenge. Knight goes to c4 again. For some reason, I don't really know. And now, your only chance with white here is to push the h-pawn. Maybe you'll ignore it and you'll make a queen. And that's what white does. White pushes the h-pawn by playing pawn to h3, which makes absolutely no sense at all. Pawn to h3 moves the pawn into the other pawn. Literally, there's no point to that. And there's also no point to knight to d6, which does nothing. h5, knight c8, h6, wait, is the pawn gonna... And now h7, and it's a draw because of c2, both sides queen. And that's it, queen f6, and it's a clean draw. But instead of that, white played pawn to h4 for absolutely no reason whatsoever, continuing to move the pawn into the other pawn for literally no reason. Knight b6. So, you know, c2 would have just been unstoppable. Now you go king h2. Why? Like, what is this? Where's the king going? Knight takes d5 now. And this is actually brilliant because after h7, c2, you queen, but now there's no queen f6 because the knight defends the pawn and it's winning for black. So after knight takes d5, absolute brilliancy, h5. I have no idea what white is doing, and now c2 again. Okay, knight b4. Now I move away, and now white plays h7. Absolutely brilliant stuff here. Now that's it. c2, queen, it's a draw. But here, a series of moves which is just completely and utterly unexplainable happens as black plays f5. And now white is winning because the pawn can queen and black doesn't have enough time. But instead of that, white plays h6, moving the pawn into the other pawn. And now black goes c2. What? Why? Why are you copying white? Why are you making the same mistake as him? And now white just goes king h3 for absolutely no reason. You do not need the king here. Just queen your pawn. Where are you going? Move towards the pawns. Like, at least move here. And, like, maybe he'll delay this and, like, you can get back, you know? King to h4 is played here, by the way. No reason at all. Just, why are we marching the king up? There is no point in marching the king up. And the knight goes to its home square. I mean, this is just insane. King h5. And now, I guess we see white's point. White wanted to create, like, a little, like, freight train, like, caravan or whatever, of, like, king, pawn, and after knight d7, which is, again, a completely pointless move, of course, white finally queens, and now white is losing. Knight to f8. And wherever the king goes, you sack the knight, you make it the queen, and you win the game. King g7. So after f4, king g7. Yeah, that was what I meant to say. So blunder, f5. So for some reason, the pawns are just running into each other now. King to f7. Why are you moving away from your pawns? What are you doing? Knight c5. Okay, now we queen. The objective of the game is to get your pawn to the last rank. You do not need to get your king to the last rank of the board. Knight d3. Okay. I see. You know, you're gonna go c2, you're gonna go c1, you want to be supported by the knight for absolutely no reason at all. King d8. And now, the only winning move is knight to e5, because if queen, check. Here, and you win the game. c2, c1, queen. But why do that when you can go knight c1? And now white is just completely winning because no matter what you do, like look, white goes king to c8 for absolutely no reason. And now you can't even queen because the knight blocks the pawn. But instead of that, black goes king to e6, trying to stop the pawns. Black completely miscounts. White goes here, black goes here, white goes here. And now black goes here, and white can queen one final time. No. King to a7. And that's it. The pawn falls. The pawn falls. Black queens. Black queens. Black queens. With the other pawn. And black just wins. And now, finally, after how many moves is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 20, 27. 27 bad moves in a row. White queens. Takes the pawn. And that's it. Knight to e2. Now, we just give check. White just loses the queen. Like, after all of that, white loses the queen, and now it's over. Now black wins. King c5. Now we move her. Okay, we want to get our knight out of the way. Okay, there we go. We're on the right track. You do not need to queen your pawns together. Queen them one at a time. What are you doing? Why the knight does not need to get to the opponent's first rank. King e7, f2. Okay, good. King f8. Okay. King g8, king f6. I have no idea why you're going king f6. And what knight? Just queen. What are you waiting for? What? No. What is this? Knight e2, knight d4, king h3, knight. Okay. How's the king just okay? And now finally we can give a check. We can queen. King goes here. And that's mate. We win. Queen a6. I have no idea what that is. King goes here. Okay. Now I would just go queen to e2. Support this pawn. Make 2 queens. Win the game. But instead of that, we go here and we lose our pawn. Just lose the pawn. Queen c4. Okay. I mean, it's still totally winning, but now we have to checkmate with the queen and the knight. And white just made it very easy for us to mate with the queen and the knight as we checkmate right there. Okay, this is something you should not do. You shouldn't move your queen away this far. You should try to cut off... Yeah, like, this is very bad. Like, you're giving checks, but, like, you do not need to give checks here. What you have to do, cut the king off. And, like, if the king moves here, like, just cut the king off until... And, like, bring your king, for example. Like, here, 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 and wherever you go, that's mate. That's how you checkmate with queen and king. You don't even need the knight here. You don't even need the knight. You don't even... Okay, we're giving checks. We're just... and now it's a draw because king to d6 is repetition. But no, no. What? No, we do not move away from the king. You move towards the king. No, you do not block your queen with the knight as well. This is a very, very bad play. Use your king. Use your what? Okay, just cut the king off. Cut what? What are you doing on the opposite side of the board? Okay, just okay, okay. Come on. Just please. What are you? What are you doing? What are you doing? And in this position, white went here, and the game ended in a draw. But not for the reason you think. This was not a draw from the 50-move rule, where like, if no pieces are captured or if no pawns are pushed in the last 50 moves, it's a draw. No, this game is actually 3 moves off from the 50-move rule. The reason it's a draw is because here, with 3 minutes and 17 seconds on the clock, black times out for literally no reason. Like, black was just making moves really quickly. Like, look at how little time is being used per move. And black just somehow let their clock run out here. I guess they didn't know what to do anymore. So they just gave up and the game ended in a draw.